So we're here at Old Laura Homestead, and you know, you see the photos of this place and other YouTube channels and just four-wheel drive action and such, and to actually see it firsthand is pretty amazing. It's just so remote, you know, and so old, and how it's built. Just all these corrugated iron buildings. We're going to go and have a closer look, but this is just the outside. There's a bit of a parking area here. Come off the main road. We came through Laura, then onto Battle Camp Road, so we actually followed the bitumen back from Cooktown around. But I'd say the road's in pretty good condition, so we'll go and have a closer look at these buildings. So this would have been the old station house here, I'd say, the old homestead, the actual living area for the cow cocky back in the day. We've got another couple of buildings, old stables, I'd say, maybe an old worker's shed and an old vehicle there. Big mango tree. But yeah, down into the creek there. It'd be interesting to have seen what this was like 100 years ago as a working station. Just so old.
Old water tank stand?
Yeah, the old water tank stand there.
Together with like all random sheets.
This is the back of the homestead here, and inside you've got the asbestos sheeting, obviously added later on. And unfortunately everything's wired, sort of got this wire grate, so you can't get in, which is probably a good thing, but it would have been really interesting to go upstairs and have a look, see what was upstairs. Yeah, you've got bits and pieces of machinery under the house. Staircase that goes up. You can just see up in there now. Oh, you probably won't be able to, but I can. It's looks all open up there. But yeah, it would have been really interesting to get up and actually have a look at how the layout of that is. Just different farming implements. There's a heap of information on a wall just inside. So under the house here, obviously got camping permit numbers, but there's a lot of information. So this was born of the gold rush days. Whole heap of stuff there on that. Just different parts of information. So, you know, obviously the stockman and how it was built. A young Irish immigrant, Fergus O'Byrne, selected the Laura Station in 1879. So there you have it. More photos and information here as well. Yeah, it's really cool old truck here. Seen better days, but you know, like just a piece of Australian history right there, just sitting out here on Cape York Peninsula. So we looked into it. That was the old workers accommodation there, and over here was the workshop and blacksmithing shed. And you got this big mango tree here, so we'll go and have a closer look at these two buildings. Yeah, the old, well, looks like to be accommodation or workshop, probably accommodation, but yeah, you can see there's still some old tools sitting in here, big old wheels and things like that. You know, some cardboard box, bits of Coro. Unfortunately, you know, driving here along the road, you see Bundaberg rum cans and just litter, and you're like, why do people need to be grubs for? But anyway, looking at the outside, it's pretty cool. Old bed frame. And just inside now, the old blacksmithing shed here. You've got two, but they're just built with basically trees, just big trees, just cut down and just, you know, machined basically with what it would have been hand tools to make a building. You can see this is wired off as well, so you can't go in there, which is fair enough. It is actually a concrete floor there, which is interesting, and so is the base to that building over there, but there's a lot of rocks. So they've obviously brought a lot of big rocks in to substitute the aggregate. Big old pipes and such, and then this over here, another shed over here. So that's interesting as well. That looks like to me would have been an old sort of meat, sort of butcher's shed area where they would have processed meat, because it's got mesh, wire mesh, fine wire mesh there. So, and it looks like that's probably what it would have been. And this big log here with a lot of knife marks in it. So this is probably a big old butcher's block. It would have been brought in here, and you've got this fine wire mesh here. So that would have been to keep the flies out. But yeah, pretty cool. Right down in there's the creek. So yeah, that's Old Laura Homestead. Pretty cool piece of history. We've ducked off just to have a quick look at it, so we'll take some photos now, and yeah, hopefully that was enjoyable. If you can get up here, I'd highly recommend it. It's just, there's no one else here at the moment. We're all by ourselves, so it's been pretty cool to actually get here and see this place. Like Louise said, that's definitely the old butcher's shed there, and there's some some steel in there that would have been used to hang up carcasses and such. Let them set before they butchered them. I used to in Stanthorpe, had a similar shed in the property I worked down there when I was a young bloke, except it's a lot colder, so the carcasses would set up overnight. So I don't know how they would have gone here. Well, it could have been a horse rail to tie horses off, I don't know. Cattle yards, what's the remnants of old cattle yards and working yards through here by the looks. But yeah, it's pretty well maintained and pretty cool piece of Australian history. Alright guys, until next time, take care.